My first Airbnb listing and the subject of my first Airbnb related video on this channel. It's definitely a little bittersweet to have officially unlisted this on Airbnb, and I wanted to make a video to update you on the reasons why. In 2022, we welcomed our third baby, and within the same month, we were also setting up our second Airbnb in Florida. Maintaining operations in the tiny house Airbnb was very time-consuming, very hands-on. We were involved in washing the towels and the bedding because there's no in-unit laundry. We have to take it back to the main house. Additionally, we never quite found the cleaning staff that would be 100% perfect that we can rely on every time, so we would be involved in doing the final check. We were also adding all these little touches like lighting a candle right before the guests arrive, or grinding fresh coffee, refilling the little creamer jar to put into the fridge, and then manually changing the lockbox because we couldn't put like a keypad on the door. All of these little things really add up. It was a project with a lot of love and a lot of labor, and the guests can feel how much we care so much. And not tooting my own horn, but it's the kind of experience that they remember as guests, and they come back and they say hi and they want to chat with us to find out more. They bring gifts, and it's all the warmth of the perfect owner-occupied listing that we've loved in the Airbnbs we've stayed at. But anyway, even though it was a lot of fun and financially lucrative, we wouldn't have been able to put in that same time commitment with a newborn and with this new Airbnb that's out of state. And so we paused for when the baby was going to arrive with the plan to revisit, kind of leave it open-ended, and think about when we would like to jump back in. And then in the meantime, we got an email from the Homeowners Association stating that we were not allowed to do short-term rentals. Now, I had looked at all the ordinances and bylaws before we started because this was a concern of mine too, but I didn't find anything. When I asked them to clarify what part of the bylaws they meant, they pointed to the line that says all of the houses here are meant to be single-family residences, and therefore they felt it meant we couldn't have a business use of the home, for example, an Airbnb, which those are not exactly the same thing. There's residential zoning for like single-family homes, which doesn't necessarily preclude short-term rentals. And additionally, there are local ordinances, regulations for how you register for short-term rentals and how they will be taxed and whatnot, which is a completely separate thing. And if we're talking about like business use of the home, that is such a wide range. Like, for example, if I had a label printing business where I sell these customized labels on Etsy, is that allowed? How about a realtor who uses their home as a home office and hosts neighborhood events for their real estate business? Because we actually have that as one of our neighbors. Or is this going down the path of a rental is a business if it's averaging less than 7 days per stay? So then in that case, is a midterm rental okay? Or how about hosting a fellow healthcare person who's here for an interview or here for a short time? Or how about hosting a campaign staffer for election season, an au pair? All real examples that have happened in this very neighborhood, by the way. Anyway, long story short, it was not very well-defined rule, and I feel like if we really felt strongly, we could potentially revisit and challenge and clarify. But then again, I already had other reasons for stopping, and it's a relatively small neighborhood. Do I really want to cause a big stink and damage relationships? Although I've closed the tiny house to guests for now, I think I got what I needed from this experience. Number one, I got the excuse to furnish the studio properly. If you grew up in a frugal Asian household, you know what I mean. What wall art? And two, I unlocked superhost status, which definitely helped me when I posted my second listing in the beach house. And then three, this last one feels a little bit cheesy to say, so don't laugh. It shifted my mindset. I know, I used to roll my eyes when somebody would say anything about mindset, but it turns out it was mainly because their examples of limiting beliefs were not really what I was struggling with. It had never been a confidence thing. It was not analysis paralysis. For me, it was like, what is the point of making X number of extra dollars? Like, what fulfillment does it give me to own a bunch of real estate? What is the point of doing this extra thing? How does this all make me happy or get me closer to where I want to go? But now, after this hosting experience with the tiny house, which started and then ended, I realized that each of these projects, businesses, entrepreneurial ventures, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't have to be the end goal. It doesn't have to be some groundbreaking achievement. It doesn't even have to be a conventional, logical next step, because in the grand scheme of things, this is like one page of a workbook meant to teach me a skill, a perspective, and I can stay for as long as I'm having fun or gaining something from it, or move on from it when I'm done. Just taking with me the growth, the fun memories, and whatever leverage it gives me so that I can unlock the next project. And somehow shifting the perspective from just chasing more and more and more Airbnb listings and being an Airbnb host to seeing this as a path for knowledge and for growth and infinite creative possibilities, that gives me so much joy and energy and peace. The nice thing about not hosting is that I get to use this as my YouTube studio, and it's much quieter in there than in the main house, and I can also sprawl out as much as I want. All of us also just really enjoy accessing the backyard whenever we want, in our pajamas, being loud, being messy, and just having the freedom to be completely carefree in our own home, in our own backyard. And I have to think, at the end of the day, isn't this the reason we build anything in the first place?